Hi Aries, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your September 2021 Mercury Retrograde reading for you. Now, this Mercury Retrograde goes from September 27th to October 18th. That's going to be the time of this Mercury Retrograde. Now, I hope this reading resonates with you. If it does, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we get into this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. Also, if you hear anything in the background, that would be my dog Esme. Okay, so now let's take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. How will Aries be affected by the September 2021 Mercury Retrograde? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Okay, at the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. At the very bottom, we have the moon. At our roots, we have the moon, which is Pisces energy, which is also the moon energy of this time. So make sure to understand where the moon is during this Pisces full moon and how this moon affects you astrologically. That can also be at the beginning of the moon readings that I have done, and those are just linked onto my page. So you can definitely see that. But there's a deep sense of this Mercury retrograde having a very intense emotional pull on you, which makes sense. That's what Mercury retrograde is all about. But this is unlike any other Mercury retrograde. This is a very, very special Mercury retrograde, which we'll get into in just a moment. We'll get into everything about Mercury retrograde, the planetary alignment, and even the star alignment. Then we have the Empress. So there is a claiming of power we didn't even know we lost. It moves us to the craftsman of Earth, Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Now, if we have Pisces within our natal chart, that's going to be coming through very powerfully at our root. If we have Earth sign energy within our natal chart or are born on the cusp with Taurus, this is going to be coming through very powerfully in our inner self. We then have the Three of Air. We're leaving heartbreak and pain and disappointment behind. It has made its mark on us, and we just have to acknowledge it during this time and not let it rule us, hurt us, define us the way that it once has. So that's going to be intrinsically important for us during this time. In our emotional self, we have the Five of Cups and the Six of Pentacles. The Five of Cups is change your mind, change your life. During a Mercury retrograde, we tend to be a little bit more morose, a little bit sadder than we usually are. So it's going to be very easy for us to focus on everything that isn't working out exactly the way that we want it to, pull up things that have failed in the past or that haven't gone exactly the way that we wanted them to in the past and that have held us back. So here that's going to be very important for us to look at, to understand the hurts and the pains, but then to still be able to raise our energy vibration and say, no, but I'm choosing to walk this path. I'm choosing to see the blessings. Then we have the Six of Pentacles. We need to balance things. Things can feel very unbalanced during a Mercury retrograde, and we're just going to feel that emotionally. That's just going to be part of this time. We then have the Five of Swords. So we're going to have this battle, or have not a battle so much as we're going to be facing things that we have faced before. And we're going to think, wow, I have to face this again. And especially during Mercury retrograde, where we can feel that vulnerability coming forward, where we can, feel like nothing really goes the way that we want it to. And we're going to find during this time that that's not true. Actually, things are going to be turning in our favor in a very real way. And then we have the Death card, which is rebirth, which is also Scorpio energy. So if we have Scorpio within our natal chart, that's coming through quite profoundly in our public arena self. We're going to be a little bit more mysterious. We're going to find ourselves transforming, changing, breaking old barriers and ties and thinking, well, it had to be done this way. And now saying, why? Why? Why can't I open up the door to my power, to my understanding? Now, the energy we have to be mindful of during this time, angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading, right here, is the Princess of Swords. Air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. But, Mercury. It's Mercury. We have to be mindful of Mercury. Mercury rules Gemini. It is about the voice and the words and the communications. And so that's all around the swords. And that's going to be what we have to be mindful of. And we're going to have to be mindful of the immaturity of some people's words, of some people's actions, of what they desire, what we desire. So that's going to be something very powerful to sit there and step back and say, okay, not everybody's words hold validity. Not everybody has the understanding or the power that I need. Everybody has their own struggles, has their own doubts, their own fears. As Buddha said, question everyone, even me. And that's going to be a great thing during Mercury retrograde to do, to say, okay, well, you know what? I'm just going to question this. I'm just going to look at this a little differently, a little bit more powerfully for myself. Now let's see our chakra energy. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Inspiration. Now this is the Sacral Chakra, and the Sacral Chakra is always a little bit of a tricky chakra because it's where our sexual and creative energy is held. So it's a really great chakra, but it's also where all our doubts and fears from this life and past lives are held, our traumas and our dramas, our hurts and our pains. So during this time, we're going to find ourselves stepping out of what we thought we should have been, stepping out of the doubt, the hurt, the questioning of ourselves, the thinking, I can't. And that's going to really lead us to this new dawn and to this new power. But we can have that questioning energy coming up, and that coupled with a Mercury retrograde can make us feel like insecure, can make us feel like I'm not moving forward the way that I should be. Look at me, I'm letting people down, I'm letting myself down. We have to step back from that energy because that can just snowball, that can just really grip into ourselves and hurt our hearts. And our hearts are sensitive during this time. And so Aries, as much as we love to charge into battle and to say, you know what, I can do it, I can get it, I can move forward, nothing's going to hold me back. We have to be a little bit kinder with ourselves during this Mercury retrograde. Now, this is the last Mercury retrograde of 2021. And we usually have 3 to 4 Mercury retrogrades in a season, in a year. And this time we have 3. So what we're going to find is that Mercury retrograde usually lasts about 24 days, give or take, we're going to find ourselves dealing with things from the past, and we're going to find ourselves dwelling on things. We can see that in our heart right here. We can find that the moon brings up sensitivity, and we have pains with the 3 of air that comes through. The 5 of swords also shows us having to deal with things from the past, from hurts, from pains, and from disappointments. We need to double check all emails, all posts, everything before we send them out. Letters, anything like that, we need to double check it. We just need to look at everything, make sure that we have another set of eyes on any contracts that we sign, anything that has to be like opened up or anything like that, because it's just going to help us from making mistakes. We could even have people, run our posts or run our emails by somebody if we're thinking, oh, well, should I send this? Shouldn't I send this? And then have somebody we really trust look at it and say, oh yeah, that's great, or oh no, that's not. We might not want to do that, or have a person we can do that too. But it would be good to have a second set of eyes. So even if we just put something away for like a day and we say, okay, if I still feel that way, I'll send that email in the morning. If I still want to post that post, I'll post it in the morning. That's just going to be important and give us a little bit of a buffer, which we all need during Mercury retrograde. For some people, that's just good life advice to have that buffer, but especially during Mercury retrograde. On the 6th of September, starts the shadow period of Mercury retrograde. It begins the whole Mercury retrograde cycle. And what we're going to see here, it begins the impact of Mercury retrograde. So what we're going to see here is that we're going to have an idea around a Mercury controlled aspect, thinking, speaking, contracts, travel, things that the swords hold. And we're going to find that that issue is brought up during this Mercury retrograde, which also plays really great into the Five of Swords in the public arena. So during this time, we can see it coming up in the public arena because that's past, coming forward to the present. We have it coming up also with the Three of Swords, the Three of Air. We have these hurts, these pains, these disappointments that we need to look at, and we need to find a way to fly away from. It's like, you don't get to define me anymore. On the 27th of September starts Mercury retrograde. Now we're going to talk about the stars that are in alignment with Mercury retrograde. If you're looking at the planetary alignment, or you want to know the planetary alignment during Mercury retrograde, that's going to be in the Pisces full moon readings. And so you guys can just check those out if you want to. I'll link it in the description. No, well, yeah, you can link it in the description box below or in the comment box, whichever one I find I can put it in. So Mercury is going to be conjunct the fixed star Arcturus. Now, I do apologize if I'm pronouncing the stars' names wrong. I always read them. I don't say them out loud, so do bear with me. The star is going to obtain justice through power. So this brings riches, esteem, and determination. It can promote lasting success if we stay in our positive and high energy vibrational mindset. It can promote negativity that can overwhelm us if we don't. So that's going to be the thing during this Mercury retrograde. We have this sense of, this big success, this big richness around us, this esteem. We're going to actually really be looking towards the littler things. They're going to make up the bigger things. So when it comes to Mercury conjunct the fixed star Arcturus, we're going to have to say, you know what, I claim my throne. I claim my power. I claim the intention and the intensity of myself. And I'm not going to let myself be held back. Not getting negative when we start crafting with the earth, when we start connecting with the earth and seeing that energetic power, that energy power, leading us forward, building us, driving us, and leading us to a place of alleviating heartbreak. We're going to want something a little bit bigger. We have to be mindful of that, and we're going to have to step into the power that comes in small but also extreme ways because of the Empress. Now, Mercury is also going to be conjunct the fixed star Spica. Yes, I believe that's how you say it. And this star brings us success, renown, riches, fame, and a sweet disposition. Though remember, this always comes in different levels of extreme. For some people, they can seem just absolutely blessed during this time. For others, it's going to be much gentler. But we do have that sweet disposition, which takes away from some of the communicative, anxiety around Mercury retrograde, or just the anxiety in general around Mercury retrograde. When we have those sweet words, we have that sense of really at our roots, this sense of claiming the softness of the moon, the feminine power of the moon, claiming the feminine power of the Empress. And the Empress, Aries, you are represented by the Emperor in the major arcana. The Empress softens us. The Empress balances us. The Empress is our soulmate connection. And so during this Mercury retrograde, we actually find it to be very empowering for us in a really big way. Very much a sense of almost, I'm coming home. I'm seeking out that other half of me that I forgot about, that softer half that, I need in order to be as strong and powerful as I want to be. This also brings us love for the arts and science, but also can be hard for those of us who are going to have a more innocent approach to things during this time, as this star aligns with power. Both these stars align with power. So if we tend to be more innocent of nature, kind of look at things and be a little bit more positive, really embrace the higher energy vibration, and this is going to be a time where we can think, I'm not making the hard-hitting kind of harsh decisions that I need to make. We need to step back from that, because that's just not going to be true. This is also going to bring us above average psychic abilities, above average intuition, which gives us, this also then brings along with it, this androgynous and spiritual alignment that amplifies the energy of the full moon in Pisces. And we see that really coming forward. But the sense of this development of our intuition, that's really strong at our roots. We're going to say, well, my gut feels this, my gut is telling me that. And Spirit's saying, listen to your gut. We can even find ourselves really being inspired by people who listen to their gut, listen to their intuition. This is a great time for scientists, writers, artists, creators. All right, Mercury retrograde. Mercury is going to be stationary direct beginning on the 18th of October to the 2nd of November. Now, what this means is that it's kind of like we had the beginning effect of Mercury retrograde, which was Mercury direct on the 6th of September, the shadow period. We then have another shadow period on the 18th, starting the 18th of October, and then going into the 2nd of November. The planets during this time are going to be Mercury sextile Venus, which brings us this charming, soothing energy that makes it a good time to fall in love, that makes it a good time to kind of align with our hearts. This is also a time to follow peace and set down roots within our loved ones, within ourselves, within what we love. We're really strengthening those connections. Mercury is going to be trine Saturn, which brings determination, achievement, and we tend to tackle tasks, there we go, that were difficult for us in the past or that have a long-term benefit to them. We start to see it and it's like, oh yeah, I can do that. Oh yeah, I can break it down like that. Our stars are going to be a little bit more tricky during this time. Mercury is going to be conjunct the fixed star Vindimatrix, there we go. And if we come to this time with low energy vibration, if we come to this time with negativity, this star will just absolutely eat into that. It will play off of it. It will make us more melancholy. It will bring a sense of hastiness, like I have to get things done before anybody else steals it away, and we'll have this impulsive energy. And this can also draw us to more kind of the darker, more macabre aspects of life. So we really have to make sure during this time that we're in a good headspace, or that even if we're not in a good headspace, we don't let ourselves spiral. We don't let ourselves, amplify this by negative coping mechanisms or addictions or, anything like that, or speaking to ourselves in a negative way, surrounding ourselves with people who don't appreciate us or have lower energy vibrations. Mercury is going to also be conjunct the star Porrima. And if we keep our energy vibration, again, high, that's going to be so important during this time, this can let us see the underhanded side of people without being drawn to them. It's kind of like we see the liars, we see the cheats, and it can almost be our superpower. We like, no, you know what, I don't really trust that person. And then it comes out later on, and it could be much later on, that person was a liar, or that person was a cheat, or that person, was just corrupt in one way or another. If we keep our energy vibration high, if we don't keep our energy vibration high, we will start to worry about things. We'll start to become a little bit obsessive of, am I failing? Are things being perceived the right way? We'll get a little bit neurotic. So do keep that all in mind. The planetary alignment during this time really combats the star alignment. So we do stay in a very positive place, but we just have that underlying current, which again comes through with the Five of Swords, where it's like, okay, I've had this happen before. I've seen this before. I'm not going to let this doubt or fear drive me. Now with the full moon in Pisces, this really gives us this energy of our hearts, our souls, and our determination forward with our rooted self in the moon, and also aligned here with Pisces. We need to really embrace the spiritual side of us. Even if we don't feel very comfortable with that, just being able to meditate, just being able to say, I'm taking time just in quiet for myself, or taking time when I get to stop thinking, worrying, doubting, fearing, that becomes astoundingly powerful. We can do the Wim Hof method, where we stand under cold water for just even a short period of time. You can't think of anything else because your ancient brain comes out and says, wow, this is uncomfortable. And that's all we think about. So we need to cleanse ourselves. We need to find a way to kind of take ourselves out of the chaos of the world and put ourselves in the quiet of the light of the moon, in the beauty of its radiant power. And it leads us to the Empress. It leads us to this place of claiming a throne we thought we lost, or not even thought we lost, Aries. We know that there's always something more for us. We know there's something always that we're striving for. Now, sometimes we do achieve that. Not sometimes. We do achieve that. And sometimes we can always feel like, okay, well, then I have to move on to the next thing. Then I have to move on to the next thing. The Empress here is going to be very much a power that kind of surprises us and makes us feel much more steady within ourselves, within what we want, within what we're striving for, within what we desire from our lives and for ourselves. And it moves us to being a craftsman of our earth, to being able to see, the eyes and the mouth and the teeth, and the fact that the earth is exciting and scary and has an aspect to it that we are going to be using its energy and connecting its energy with our own to craft something extraordinary, to move us forward in power, to move us forward in instinct, to move us forward in ideas. We start to become the craftsmen of the earth. We start to see how its energy and vibrational connection empowers us, guides us, grounds us, and it helps us to really look at the fears that we are carrying and see that we're stronger than we imagined. We're more powerful than we thought. And we're more intense. We're more determined than we had seen before. And so this raises us and brings us into a place of determination, focus, and idealism. This idealism doesn't come from being kind of like a Pollyanna. It doesn't come from never thinking anything can go wrong. It comes from being very much aware that yes, things can go wrong. Yes, things can fall apart, but I'm not being defined by the pain anymore. The Mercury retrograde is going to make us want to live there, make us want to say that I'm always going to mess up. I'm always going to get things wrong. And that settles into our hearts and says, there's just doubt and fear. We'll tend to focus on 3 things. Now, it can be that we don't do 3 things very well, or look at the 3 times that we messed up. Now it's time for us to say, look at the ways that I have learned. Look at the power that I hold. Look at the way that I can fly higher than I ever imagined. And we turn towards the 2 of Cups. We turn towards healing, beautiful love that isn't what we had expected before. It's more, it's comforting, it's settling. And we look at the past and we don't say, oh, I wish I was there. And we don't hold this grudge to ourselves or for ourselves in the present. We start to be kind, and that really starts to raise our energy vibration. That really starts to have us be more aligned with ourselves. And it brings us then to the 6 of Pentacles. We need to balance things. Instead of saying, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, I can put this all on myself, I'm, able to handle everything. We say, I get to delegate. Or, you know what? I have to handle this, and I can't handle that. And make things really clear. Make things very open and honest for ourselves. Very determined and focused for ourselves. This is a time where we give what we can, and we can't be expected to give more. This is a time we balance ourselves, focus ourselves, and embrace ourselves. As we do so, the 5 of Swords comes into play. And it says here, what is it that I have faced that I will be facing again? What is it that I have doubted in my voice, in my words, in the way I present myself, or in my travels, in my connections, in my human connections, that makes me doubt? Have I thought of myself as a meek person? Have I thought of myself as a not yet there person? When you learn more, when you are better, you'll finally get there. We're going to face whatever it is that shadow aspect of ourselves that says not yet, not you. And we're going to look at it pretty much head on and say, but me, and now. And it brings us then to the Death card. This Mercury retrograde for us is a rebirth. It's a rebirth of our voice. It's a rebirth of our power. It's a rebirth of our determination. And it's a sense of there is more here than meets the eye. There is more to me than you could ever know. We're going to hold a little bit of secrets during this time because Mercury retrograde gives great power to words. It just does. We don't tend to maybe convey them as well as we would like to, but it gives great power and great insight and great beauty to words and the connection of people. And we're going to find that we're valuing that more and more. We don't want the superficial. We want things to be a little bit deeper, a little bit more meaningful, a little bit more powerful. Now, our subconscious energy for this time, our subconscious chakra energy, is creativity. Again, it's the Sacral Chakra. And during this time, we're going to find ourselves being astoundingly creative, being called to be creative. Now, if this comes from Mercury conjunct the fixed moon Spica, it can most definitely. But there's a sense here of my creativity needing to show. My power, my beauty, my insight, my ideas needing to come forward. And that just guides us. That just guides us in a way that says yes. Now, we have all our doubts and our fears and our hurts coming forward that says, oh, no, you can't. Like, what makes you think that you can be so brave? Or what makes you think that you could possibly? And it's our determination during this time. It's the fact that, yes, there's chaos, but there's focus within this chaos of Mercury retrograde. There's this beautiful light that's shining to us. And because there is storm clouds, we see the lightning. Because there is this intensity around us, we're saying, well, why not just try? Why not just go for it? And it brings us then to our subconscious energy to be mindful of. And that's the Death card. It's holding too many secrets. And it's the fact that not everybody's going to be open during Mercury retrograde. They're not going to say what they think. They hold their own secrets during this time. Respect that. Don't like it. That's totally fine. And as an Aries energy, we don't like secrets. But know that what matters here is how you move forward in your energy, not how anybody else moves forward in theirs. It brings us to our subconscious rooted message, which is the Mage. The Mage says, claim your power. As above, so below. As you think it, so it becomes. And during Mercury retrograde, more so than almost any other time, well, yeah, our energy vibration speaks volumes and gets echoed back to us. Because it's all about the words. It's all about the connections. It's all about the vibrations during this time. And so as we speak power, as we are determined, as we are focused, we find ourselves. As we claim the elemental power that is a part of us, we claim our power, our instincts, our ideas, and our passions. It moves us then to our subconscious inner self. And that is the Six of Air, the Six of Swords. We find ourselves taking what's sacredly important to us and moving on. Do we have to face deep waters and intense emotions during this time? Absolutely. But we're heading towards something new. We're heading towards something beautiful. We're heading towards something powerful. It can be a bit uncomfortable along the way, yeah. But it is also going to be intrinsically what we need, what we want, and who we are. It then brings us to our subconscious emotional self. And it brings us to the High Priestess. This is a time where a veil is lifted from our eyes. Why? Because things get real. And we're not willing to see lies anymore. This is a time where we're much more intense and much more focused and much more driven than we were before. And we run into the roadblocks of Mercury retrograde, but we also run into the roadblocks of life. And so here we're seeing deeper. It's very much like Mercury conjunct the fixed star Porrima comes forward and says, if you keep your high energy vibration, if you keep in your power, you see the underhandedness, you see the underside, the underbelly of things, and you step back and you say, you know what, maybe that's not for me. And that power starts to come forward even during Mercury retrograde itself. Subconsciously, we're looking at things and we'll think, maybe I don't like this, or, oh, that person, I just don't feel comfortable with them. And you know what, that's fine. Trusting your instinct during this time, trusting your initial gut reaction is going to be the most powerful thing for us. The veil is lifted. The masks fall away. That can be uncomfortable, yes, but it's also going to be beautiful. It moves us then to our subconscious public self. And it's the Chariot. Now, this is Cancer energy. This is also focused determination in love and in self. This is the subconscious and the conscious coming together, the heart leading the way. This is also saying the mind has to come forward. Most definitely we can't be ruled by one emotion or just the other. But we also become warriors of our hearts, of what we desire, of our daylight self, the self blessed by the sun and the self guided by the moon. And that harmony and that instinct starts to lead us. We start to see ourselves, again, more openly and more honestly. We see ourselves as warriors during this time, but it's warriors for what we love and for bringing that love forward. All right, Aries, I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace this astoundingly odd, but astoundingly beautiful Mercury retrograde. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Aries. And may you have a blessed Mercury retrograde.